Pink.
Okay, I'm gonna use the pink pen.
Okay.
Because I'm
Okay.
writing.
Okay, you're writing. Very good. All right, so let's read about friction. Can you read the information here for me, please? What does it say?
Friction is the force between two surfaces that are sliding against each other when there's contact between two materials.
Okay, yes, very good. So friction is a kind of force as well. And friction occurs when there are two surfaces that are rubbing or sliding against each other. So when two surfaces rub against each other, it is friction. And friction can happen only when there is contact between two materials. So you have to rub two materials together in order for friction to occur. Okay. So if you had to rub both your hands together like this for a long time, you would actually feel that the palms of your hands are getting hotter and hotter. So that is happening because of the friction between both your hands. Does that make sense?
Yes, what do you prefer, white or blue?
Blue.
Okay.
Okay.
This one. Pink or
Okay. I would go with pink.
okay.
Pink again.
Okay. So I'm gonna use the
Okay.
pink. Pink is the winner.
The pink pen's the winner. Okay, awesome. All right, so do you understand the concept of friction?
I don't know.
And if we look at the diagram over here, we can see motion. So this item here is being placed on a tilted wooden structure, and that is motion. So motion is when this object here is moving all the way down the board, and this is friction. So friction is when the wheels of this is rubbing against the wooden structure here. Can you see that? It's rubbing against each other like this. Okay, that is friction. Does it make sense now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, very good. So that is friction. All right. Let's read the fact here. It says, do you know, can you read the sentence at the bottom for me, please?
Earth's gravity keeps the moon in orbit around the planet.
Okay, yes, very good. All right, so the Earth's gravity, so we have gravity on Earth. So this gravity here actually keeps the moon in orbit around the planet. So because of the gravity, it keeps the moon orbiting the planet all the time, and it makes that process a lot easier because of the gravity. Okay? Okay, do you understand? Do you understand the work? Yes?
Okay, like the Saturn's rings are not just rocks, but actually maybe it's their moons.
Okay, all right. Okay, very cool. Okay, let's look at the next part of the lesson. Can you read the sentence here at the bottom for me? It's another fact.
The moon's gravi gravitational pull
Gravitational.
is strong enough to move the oceans, creating tides. This means that the fuller the moon is, the higher the tides will be.
Very good. Okay. So this talks about the gravitational pull of the moon. So the gravitational pull of the moon is strong enough to actually affect the tides of the ocean. So that is why when it is a full moon night, it is suggested that we do not go to the beach. Because if you go to the beach during the full moon time, it means that the tides are going to be higher in the ocean, and the ocean is going to be quite dangerous and unsafe for you to swim in. So the gravitational pull of the moon has a direct impact on the ocean's tides. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, I just saw this, do you know, on TikTok, like there's a monster in the Philippines who lives in the ocean who ate the six
Okay.
moons of our planet. So that's why we only have one moon.
Only one moon. Okay, all right. That is very interesting. Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's look at the questions here. So we are going to answer the questions. If you do not remember anything, we are going to go up and look at the information again because we did most of this lesson last week. So if you have forgotten, then we will look at the information one more time. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the first question here says, what is a force? So do you remember what is a force?
No.
Okay, so let's go up and look at the information again. Okay, so what is a force? All right, let's look at this information. What does it say here?
Most forces that we feel are push and pull forces that act
Okay, very good. So
like
they are push or pull forces.
look at my outfit.
Yes, I can see that. It's very cute. Summer is here. It's a very pretty top. Okay, all right. So what are forces? They are contact forces, which means they need two objects to make contact. Okay. So a force is when we push something or we pull something, and we need two objects to make contact in order for a force to take place. Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, very good. So that is a force. And we also looked at gravity, we looked at magnetism, and then we looked at the other information. Now let's look at the next question. This one says, what does contact force mean? So what do you think contact force means? What does that mean? Can you tell me what does contact force mean? Okay. I want you to try and guess. What does contact mean? Does it mean that in order for a contact force to happen, do we need to touch something or do we not touch something at all? What do you think that is? Do we need to touch something for contact force or do we not touch something at all? What do you think it is? Okay, let's look at the information again. Contact force. Okay. So let's read the first sentence here.
Contact forces, which means they need two objects to make contact.
Very good. And what are non-contact forces? Can you read this part for me?
Magnetism and gravity are non-contact forces. They're forces that can move an object without touching.
Okay. So non-contact forces can move an object without touching it. So that is non-contact. Now, what do you think a contact force means? So if a non-contact force means that you do not touch the object to move it, what does the contact force mean we have to do?
Which means they need two objects to make contact.
Yes, very good. So for a contact force, two objects need to make contact. They need to touch each other in order for the object to actually move. Okay, very good. Let's look at the next question. This one here says, how do objects move? So how do you think objects move? Yes? With the push force and the pull force. Very good. So that is how we can move objects. Okay, I want you to read the sentence here and choose the correct option to complete the sentence, please.
The force that pulls up in the other planets towards the sun is called gravity.
It's called gravity. Very good. So the force that pulls the Earth and other planets towards the sun is called gravity. Very good. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this lesson over here, and now we are looking at your homework. So the homework here says to push a toy car along different surfaces. What do you notice? How easy or difficult does it move?
I don't have a toy car. My toy car is too old, so I can't use it.
Okay, so perhaps you could use any other toy that has wheels on it. Okay, it could be any kind of toy that has wheels on it. Okay, and you can push it along different surfaces and you can notice whether it is easy or whether it is difficult to move on certain surfaces.
What about this? It can roll.
It's a pen. Yes. Okay, so perhaps, yes. Okay, so perhaps you could use that. So you are going to move it on different surfaces and then see how easy or difficult it is to move. And then the next question here says, how do gears on the bike affect your pedaling the bike? Okay, so perhaps you can do some research on this question and get your answer. So it talks about the gears on the bike and how it affects the way you pedal. Okay, so that homework will be discussed in your next class. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. Okay, so did you understand everything that we learned in this lesson today?
Okay.
Did you understand everything that we learned today?
Yes, at the first page, like my mom just this right.
Okay, so that's lots of notes.
And this is me when I draw.
Okay. When you're drawing.
I just learned to write how my writing is. So it's actually a bit too perfect.
Okay, all right. So thank you for showing me that. And now, are you ready to start with your next lesson?
Yes, and now I'm going to use a green pen.
A green pen, very good.
It also has purple ink.
Okay, awesome. All right. So now we are looking at the next lesson. Let me just put this into slideshow mode first. Okay, so now we are looking at level 2, unit 11, and we are starting with lesson 4. What does lesson 4 say? Can you read for me? What does lesson 4 say? What is the title of the lesson?
Magnets. Can you see the circle?
Yes, I can see the circle.
It looks like infinity.
Okay, yes, it does look like the infinity sign. Okay, good observation. All right, so in this lesson over here, we are going to learn more about magnets. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, very good. So we cannot do the homework because that was just given to you now. Okay, so it says here, let's quickly chat. And the question says, have you ever wondered what are magnets and how do they work? So did you ever think about magnets and how they actually work and what they actually do?
Oh, it's on the fridge.
And did you ever think about how they actually work?
I don't know. I never used that before.
Okay, all right. So we are going to learn about magnets. Do you know? Can you read the sentence at the bottom for me, please?
Magnet is a metal that attracts or repels other materials, and also a magnet also pulls slime. I really love slime. I want to play it, but my mom didn't let me to play it.
To play it. Okay. All right. So this talks about the magnet. So a magnet is a metal object. And this metal object over here will either attract or it will repel other materials. So that means that the magnet will either stick to some materials or it is going to pull away from certain materials. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's look at the word repel. What does it mean? Can you read for me?
Okay. Repel. To force someone or something to stop moving towards you or attacking you.
Okay, very good. So repel means when you force someone or something from, you stop them from moving towards you or attacking you. So you repel them. So when someone's coming close to you, you sort of push them away, you repel them. Do you understand what this word means?
Yes.
Yes, very good. Okay, do you know? Can you read this information for me, please?
Just fine. I'll read it now. They're made from iron, nickel, steel, or cobalt,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a north and a south at pole.
Very good. Okay. So this tells us over here that magnets are made from these four materials. So the magnet could be made from cobalt, it could be made from iron, it could be made from nickel, or it could be made from steel. So these are the four items that can be used to make your magnets. And every magnet has the North Pole and it has the South Pole. Can you see that in the picture over here?
Yes.
Yes, so the magnet has the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, very good. Let's look at this information here. How do magnetic forces work? Can you read the information for me, please?
Uh, oh my God, that's a long one.
It is a long one. Can you read it, please?
How do magnetic forces work? Each end of a magnet is called a pole. There is a north and there is a south pole. Opposite poles attract. So north pole in one of the magnet will be attracted to the south pole of another one. If you put two magnets close enough to each other, the force will pull them together without you actually needing to physically put them together.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to put poles of the same type together, they'll push away from each other. This is called repelling. The North Pole will repel another North Pole.
Okay, very good. So this is similar information to what we just read in our previous lesson just now. So it explains how the magnetic forces work. So we understand that the magnet has the North Pole and it has the South Pole, okay? And it also tells us here that the opposite poles attract each other. So if you place the south pole of one magnet close to the north pole of another magnet, it is going to attract. Can you see that here?
Yes.
Yes, so it's going to attract, it's going to come together. However, if you actually put the north pole of one magnet to the north pole of the other magnet, it is going to repel. So that means it is going to pull apart and pull away from each other. Okay? And when the magnets actually attract, you wouldn't need to put much force into putting the magnets together. If you hold the magnets close to each other, they will automatically pull and become stuck to each other. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, very good. So that is how magnets work, okay? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. All right, let's look at the next bit of information. Do you know? Can you read for me, please?
Magnets are surrounded by an invisible magnetic field.
Mhm.
When you put a magnetic material into the magnetic field, it will show a magnetic force. You cannot see the magnetic field, but you can see its effects using iron, the tiny piece of iron lined up along the magnetic field lines.
Okay, very good. So this one over here tells us that the magnets are surrounded by an invisible magnetic field. So all magnets have the invisible magnetic field around them, and it shows us a magnetic force, okay? So when you put the magnetic material into a magnetic field, so when one magnet comes close to another magnet, you are putting it in a space where it is going to show us the magnetic force, okay? So the magnetic field is something that we cannot actually see because they are like tiny pieces of iron that line up along the magnetic field lines. So these are the tiny pieces of iron. Can you see that here in the diagram?
That's great.
Yes. Okay. So all of these over here creates the magnetic force, and when one magnet is close to another magnet, they will actually attract and become stuck to each other. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now let's look at the next part of the lesson. Can you read for me, please? Can you read this information, please? Okay, I will try to speak louder for you. Okay, so can you read this information, please?
Magnets will always have two poles, even if you cut them in half.
Okay, very good. So, every magnet we know has a north pole and it has a south pole. So, even if you decide to cut or break the magnet in half, the magnet is still going to have the north pole and the south pole. Okay. So, if we look at the second diagram here, we can see that the magnet is broken, but it still has the north pole and the south pole here. Can you see that?
That is magical.
Yes, magical. Okay, very good. So magnets will always have the North Pole and the South Pole. Okay, very good.
But I have a circle magnet.
Yes, a circle magnet. Yes, okay. So the circle magnet might also have the North Pole and the South Pole on it too, and that will actually make the magnet attract or repel another piece of metal. Okay.
Like if I use a magnet, like when I was young, I used magnets to play, and then I tried to put two magnets on different colors together, yellow, green,
Yes.
then they repel together even when it rotated.
Okay.
And then I used the yellow and blue magnet. They track together.
To attract together. Yes, very good. So that is how all magnets work, and that is the whole concept of the magnetic field and the North Pole and the South Pole of the magnet. Okay. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our lesson time for today. So when I see you again, we are going to complete the rest of this lesson on the magnets, and then we are going to move on to the next lesson. Okay? You did really good today, and I will see you again soon. Okay? Thank you for the lesson. Bye bye.
Bye bye.